counting gang violence. Great. Counting or not counting gang violence. Great.
Oh my God. Go, run.
Manhunt for Charlie Kirk's killer. The shooter took just one shot, and today authorities released this image of a person of interest. They believe the shooter is college age and threw the murder weapon away in the woods when he made his getaway.
And then as the guy said shooting or shooters or something like that, you just hear the gunshot and I'm sorry, you just see his neck just like open up and there's just like so much blood that just came out.
Imagine this. You're in a crowd of 3,000 cheering your hero on stage when bam, one shot changes everything. Blood on the mic, screams in the air, and a 4-year-old running toward her dying dad. That's not a movie. That's September 10th, 2025 at Utah Valley University. Charlie Kirk, the 31-year-old conservative powerhouse who built Turning Point USA from nothing, was assassinated in cold blood. And now, the killer is caught. His name? Tyler Robinson, 22-year-old, the kid from next door who turned into a nightmare. But why? How? And what the hell does this mean for us scrolling through endless feeds? One radical post away from snapping. Stick with me. I'm breaking it all down fact by fact, twist by twist, with lessons that'll hit you harder than that bullet. Hit play, smash like if you're in, and let's unravel this before it unravels us. Welcome back to our channel, where truth is served raw. So let's fast forward to that courtyard in Orem, Utah, about 40 miles south of Salt Lake City. It's around noon, sun high and hot. The whole place buzzing with this electric vibe. Kirk's kicking off his American comeback tour there. First event to Prove Me Wrong debate that's pulled in 3,000 people. Students all fired up, supporters chanting along. And his wife Erica up front with their kids. The 1-year-old and 4-year-old just taking it all in with those big eyes. Under this basic white tent marked up with red letters, the American comeback, Prove Me Wrong. Kirk's right in his element. He's breaking down points on gun rights, affirmative action, all that conservative ground he covers so well. And he's deep into a Q&A on school shootings, his voice carrying strong, everyone locked in. You get that sense of it, don't you? That back and forth energy he always chased. Then comes 12:10 p.m., quick and brutal. A single gunshot cuts right through. It's from 200 yards off, up on the Losee Center roof, like some dark figure nursing a grudge. A high-powered bolt-action rifle doing the work. The bullet hits Kirk's neck, slices his carotid artery straight through. He stumbles back, hand clamping his throat, blood coming out fast and heavy. And he drops to the stage like something's just given way. The crowd loses it. Screams fill the space. People hit the deck. Everything turns to pure disorder. And that 4-year-old? She slips loose and runs straight for her dad. Little steps cutting through the mess on instinct alone. People who saw it later put it like this. The world just halted. Then everything blew apart. Phones pick up the worst of it calls of shooter. Get down, bouncing back like echoes in a storm. They rush Kirk to Timpanogos Regional Hospital. But it's too late by then. Dead on arrival, Utah Governor Spencer Cox puts it plain. This was a political assassination. And the rifle? Left behind in the woods close by, with 3 rounds still in it, scratched up with anti-fascist stuff, lines from old Italian resistance songs, nods to video games that all point to some kind of twisted belief. Gives you that cold feeling, doesn't it? But wait, how did someone even line up that shot? Think about the lay of the land. 6 officers from the campus police, plus Kirk's own security people, all supposed to be covering things. But that Losee Center roof? Totally exposed 200 yards from where it mattered, set up like the ideal spot with a clear path straight under the edge of the tent. No branches in the way, no walls blocking, just open air. No one watching it, no doors secured, nothing all. The UVU police chief comes out later and says it's straight. We didn't have the whole campus buttoned down. It's that kind of gap you've seen in other cases, Minnesota setups gone wrong, attempts on governors. Leaving room for those nagging questions about help from the inside. Nothing to back it up, but it sticks with you. And then there are those clips going around online that everyone's watching over and over. People in the crowd caught a hooded figure in black moving around up there before the shot even went off, just hanging back like he was working through it in his head. A few students noticed and talked about it quietly. Security didn't pick up on it. Right after the gun goes, the figure jumps up, takes off running across the roof, and drops into the heavy trees like he had it mapped out. The building right next door? It had a good setup for their own sniper if they'd used it. Empty the whole time. The investigators say now he must have checked the place out days ahead, figured every line of sight, every way to slip away. If you're taking this in on your phone or whatever, that's the moment to think. Spot something that doesn't sit right? Make the call on it. Texts, alerts, anything. Letting it slide is what gives these things room to happen. But who was up there? The search that finally pinned him down is what keeps you going. The whole pursuit kicks off fast. Campus goes into full lockdown. No classes until September 14th, and the tips start pouring in like crazy. The FBI puts out sketches of the guy they're after. Looks like your average college student. Black shirt, hat pulled low, sunglasses on, pulled straight from the cameras. He shows up on site at 11:52 a.m., works his way up the stairs to the roof, and fades out right after the shot. More than 130 leads hit the wires, with 100 grand on the table for anyone who brings it home. There was some mix-up at the start. Two people who had nothing to do with it got held for a bit, one of them yelling out, "Shoot me," and picking up an obstruction charge. But the real stuff builds quick. Prints off the rifle, smudges from palms. Video piecing together his exact route like it's closing in. Trump lets slip he has some sense of the reason behind it, but holds back for the investigators, while FBI Director Kash Patel takes the lead on the operation. Then on September 12th, about 10 p.m., it breaks open. A family member sees the pictures and passes it along through a close friend to the police. It turns out Tyler had laid it all out to his dad just after it happened. Straight confession over the line. His dad talks it over with their pastor and pushes him to come forward. Tyler's response? "I'd rather not be here anymore." But they close the gap anyway. He gets taken in without a fight, still in the same clothes from the footage. That maroon t-shirt, light shorts, black hat. No resistance. Right into Utah County Jail with no chance of bail. The charges land on September 16th. Aggravated murder as the main one, a capital offense, along with felony discharge from the firearm that caused the injury and obstruction. The feds are clear. He worked alone. Hasn't said a word since. And here's the part that sticks. The prosecutors are pushing hard for the death penalty, saying he went in knowing kids would be there to see it. Chose Kirk because of what he stood for. It was a family connection that brought it to a head. But what they found when they searched his place, that's the kind of detail that draws you in further. So let's get into who this guy, Tyler Robinson, the name behind the nightmare. Just 22 years of age, coming up from St. George, down in Utah's conservative heart. Back in high school, 2019 to 2021, he was killing it, racking up college credits at Utah Tech, tried a semester at Utah State for pre-engineering, then locked into a third-year electrical apprenticeship at Dixie Tech. His path looked set, no question, never in trouble. Everyone around him called him squeaky clean, just a solid kid. His family was the kind you'd expect there. Parents registered as Republicans, some military history in the mix, mom putting in work as a social worker. Dad tied to law enforcement in some early stories, though those got cleared up as rumors. They were tight with their Mormon church, part of a close community, and Governor Cox backed it up, saying Tyler had a normal childhood. No voting record, no party ties, nothing to suggest he was anything but uncommitted, no democratically, no transgender identity, no immigrant background. Those claims about him funneling money to Trump fell apart fast. But here's where it shifts. He started spending way too much time online. And in just months, it flipped his whole world. The guy who was all about his trade turned into someone deep in Antifa Discord groups, wearing shirts with communist slogans, throwing out hate for Kirk like it was his mission. People who knew him are still stunned. His grandmother, Debbie, told NBC she was floored, didn't even know he was at the event, kept saying he was always squeaky clean. His neighbor Kristen said it didn't fit their community, called it very shocking, and stood up for his parents as good people who raised him right. There was an 18-year-old from his church, Josh Kemp, big into Kirk, who barely knew Tyler. Just a quick moment where Tyler almost hit him with his car while he was on an e-bike, then brushed off help from church folks with a sharp F off. Josh later said he wished he'd picked up on something being off. Tyler's roommate handed over Discord messages to the investigators, full of intense political talk, but no clear plans for violence. Just ideas that built up slowly, like a poison sinking in. A family member told the feds they'd talk at dinner about how much they couldn't stand Kirk's views, almost bonding over it. When police searched his place after the arrest, they found heavy stuff. Pieces of what looked like a manifesto. Traces of his online rage. If you're someone who's always scrolling, this is your heads up. School work. All that pressure mixed with online traps can pull you somewhere dark faster than you think. Check what you're taking in, talk to real people. Or you could end up in a place you never meant to go. So why did he zero in on Kirk? What pushed him to pull that trigger? That's where it gets real. It's all about political hate, plain and simple. While the manhunt was on, Tyler texted his roommate and his partner, Lance Twiggs, laying it all out. I did it for the cause. To him, Kirk wasn't just a guy with a mic. He was an existential threat, a fascist in his eyes. That Fox News appearance a few days before, where Kirk went hard on race and violence. That's what lit the match. Those bullets they found, etched with anti-fascist phrases and video game references, were like his signature, a map of what he'd been soaking up online. He planned it for a week, took his grandfather's rifle to make it happen. No group was directing him, no secret network, just his own anger, built up in those online echo chambers. Governor Cox said it was a quick slide, from normal to this in almost no time. He knew kids would be there, watching, and that choice, making it so brutal in front of them, is why prosecutors are pushing hard for the death penalty, charging him with aggravated murder, a capital offense, plus felony firearm discharge and obstruction, all filed on September 16th. Early on, people threw around ideas of some big left-wing plot or outside forces. But it's clearer now. This was homegrown, born from what he found online. It's the kind of pattern that's hard to miss. Anger that grows unchecked can turn into something you can't take back. If you're young and watching this, it's a reminder. Passion can drive you to do big things. But getting lost in those endless feeds, that can steer you somewhere dangerous. Take a second. Dig into what's real. Choose talking over tearing things down. This wasn't random. It was thought out, cold and clear. And what happened next? It's changing everything as we speak. The fallout hit like a storm. Kirk's body was flown back to Phoenix on Air Force Two, with Vice President J.D. Vance overseeing it, keeping things solemn. Erica Kirk spoke out first, her voice breaking but strong, saying her heart was shattered but calling for people to come together, not break apart. On September 21st, a massive memorial filled State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Thousands showed up and Erica took the stage, saying she forgave Tyler, rooted in her faith that love answers hate. She also dropped a bombshell. She's stepping up to lead Turning Point USA, carrying on her husband's work. Trump spoke right after, calling Kirk a martyr but pushing back hard on forgiveness, saying he'd never give it to his opponents, and promised to label Antifa a terrorist group. Vigils kept spreading. Utah's streets glowing with candles, Capitol steps packed, even reaching London and Brazil. Leaders across the board, Biden, Harris, Obama, Clinton, Bush, Pelosi, Schumer, Jeffries, stood together against the violence. Internationally, the UK's Keir Starmer spoke out strong, and Brazil's Eduardo Bolsonaro joined in. Trump's earlier comments on September 11th at the Pentagon called out radical left lunatics, set flags at half-staff until September 14th, and promised Kirk a Presidential Medal of Freedom, saying the country would come through stronger. Republicans are split now. Some, like Vance and Tucker Carlson, are pushing to honor Kirk's causes and blame left-wing extremism, while others, like Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon, are calling for cracking down on what they see as left-wing networks. Classes at UV started back on September 17th, and the mood was heavy, but people are trying to move forward. This case ties into a bigger wave, think Minnesota attacks, close calls on governors, showing how heated words can turn into something deadly. Kirk's being remembered as a free speech martyr, firing up young conservatives through Turning Point. But it's also making the divides in this country feel even wider. The irony hits hard. He was shot in the middle of a debate about shootings, putting the whole gun issue front and center. Things are tightening up now. Roofs getting locked, more eyes on the ground, campuses on edge. If you're in your 20s or 30s, this is a call to catch those warning signs early. Talk to people who ground you, build connections, not walls. We're divided, no question, but we've got a say in where this goes. There's still some haze around this. What's the full story in that manifesto? Did his partner, Lance Twiggs, know anything more? Twiggs has been cooperative, no signs he was involved. despite some wild claims from Candace Owens about strange cars at their place or deep web ties. None of that's backed up yet. The FBI is looking at over 20 people connected to Tyler, checking for any accomplices, digging into Discord chats and odd visitors to his home before the shooting. No solid proof of a bigger plot yet, but it's keeping people talking. Tyler stayed quiet since his arrest, and on September 16th, he appeared in court by video. No plea entered, with a public defender assigned. The next hearing's coming up on September 29th. There's also this 2022 body cam video that surfaced. Tyler joking with cops after a minor car crash, no warning signs, just eerie looking back now. The trial's going to be big, with the death penalty still on the table. We'll keep you posted as it unfolds. Leaders are saying it clear. Turn away from the violence. Lean into real conversation. For the younger crowd, this is our space to shape. Learn from it. Don't let it pull you in. Charlie Kirk's voice is still out there. A father, a visionary, a debater gone too soon. Tyler's fall is a warning for all of us. My heart goes out to Erica, their kids, and everyone who felt that moment. This rundown is here to give you something solid. Share it if it made you think. Drop what hit you hardest in the comments. Keep it real and straightforward, and subscribe to stay in the loop for the trial. What's one thing you're taking away to keep things grounded? Let us know. We're all in this together. Stay sharp, stay steady. Truth moves faster than any shot.